My mission with the real estate show is to help people make better real estate investment decisions and hopefully build net worth. So one thing that comes up a lot and has come up already since I've kind of started putting together this series is people mentioning, which I've heard for decades, that I don't think of my home as an investment. And I would venture to say that you can't afford not to think of your home as an investment. It is the largest investment that most Americans make, and it also is the source of the largest portion of most Americans' wealth. That's assuming that they did buy at a good time. Now, luckily, there's been a lot of good times to buy over the last 2 generations, and so more people have done well than have done poorly. Unfortunately, the vast majority of those people didn't make a strategic decision to buy a home. They just bought, and the market worked out for them. But buying at the right time is the critical part of buying a home or any sort of investment real estate. And right now is the time you need to be very, very cautious. So I wouldn't just jump into buying a home when the market is showing signs of weakness. Right now you're seeing, as I mentioned in my previous video, the introduction to this channel, there's weakness showing in the residential market nationwide. And it's a concerted showing from the big home builders who are the primary sellers right now in the market, where they're dropping prices and then they're doing things where other things to entice buyers, like providing incentives in the form of appliances, upgrades to finishes, other things like that, buying down interest rates. But these sorts of things actually cost them a lot of money, and so they are in some cases giving up all of their profit, and I'm sure in some cases actually losing money just to get rid of homes before the market drops more significantly. And this, of course, affects existing homes too. So you would definitely want to be patient. Patience is the key to being a good real estate investor. Right now it's November of 2024, so things could change. And so maybe you wait for a while and see how things go. It's possible that the factors start reversing, but one thing that I've said for many decades is that real estate is a freight train, not a Ferrari. It doesn't turn on a dime. So it takes a long time for factors to affect real estate, and the factors that are affecting real estate, mostly increasing interest rates and historically high interest rates right now, at least for the last couple of decades, are keeping buyers out of the market and making it unaffordable at today's prices for the average buyer. It was a long time coming, but it's here now, and you need to be very, very careful about buying in a potentially dropping market. Most people need to borrow money to buy, and the most typical loan out there is probably 5% down. And that means that you are basically, the bank owns your home. You don't own your home. You got to make that payment. You also got to make property tax payments, insurance payments, repairs and maintenance. And those bills are a lot larger than you might think. And keep in mind that if you buy a house at today's price and you put 5% down, and then let's say you just lose your job in a few months and you need to sell that house right away, and assuming that it's still worth the same, it hasn't actually dropped in value, you still are going to have to write a check at closing out of your bank account in order to get rid of it, because you have to pay for the sales commissions, which are 5 or 6%, and you have to pay for the closing costs, which are 2%-ish. So for every $100,000, you're going to be writing a check for approximately $3,000 out of every $100,000 of the value that it sells for, just to get out of it at the same price. So, we don't really, I mean, this is scary to start thinking about. If it drops 10% and you have to sell it for 10% less, that means that you have to write a check for $13,000 for every 100,000 in value just to get out of the house, meaning you're stuck in it. And though that loan is probably 30 years, and if it's anything less than that, it could be even a larger problem, but we'll have to discuss that in a different video because it gets quite complicated. So I really would just like to help the average person, especially first-time home buyers, not make bad real estate decisions. It can ruin your life, and I've seen it in the past cycles. I've seen it ruin people's lives. I know more people that have done extremely well from their real estate investments, so that is more than norm. But if you talk to somebody that bought a home in like 2005 or 6, maybe your parents, maybe somebody else one of your friends, they probably weren't very happy about it by 2009, 10, 11. And a lot of the time there's other things people say like time solves all real estate problems. Well, that's not really true because it doesn't actually solve the problem. What they're saying in a nutshell is that if you hold it long enough, that the value will come back and exceed the price you overpaid. And that's generally true, but you won't be able to hold on to it if you're levered up and you're not making enough money. Plus, remember, you have to pay the property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, which is the same thing as a negative perpetuity. You have to pay, and if you live in a condo, you have to pay association fees. Those aren't going away, and that's the property taxes these days are forcing some people out of their homes, depending on whether that particular real estate market marks the property taxes to the market value. California does not do that, but a lot of other states do. They will mark the property taxes up to the market value each year, which makes it extremely expensive to pay for your property taxes. So keep that in mind as well. And just for a rule of thumb, most places you can use 1.2% of the value for property taxes, but look it up. Look it up. Look it up in Google. Use ChatGPT to find the property taxes, but confirm it because ChatGPT hallucinates, aka lies to you a lot, and I can prove that if people really want to know, it will answer questions incorrectly, and when you tell it it's wrong, it just apologizes to you about being wrong. But anyways, so do confirm anything you look up about real estate, and just do me a favor and don't listen to people that are trying to sell you something when you're talking about real estate. Agents or other people that are benefiting, say, selling you a real estate tutorial. For me, this is just kind of a life mission to help people understand real estate, because I've spent over 3 decades of my life practicing the real estate trade, and then 4 years before that studying it in college. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out for right now, but I will go ahead and cover some of these basic subjects one after the other in subsequent videos before I start bringing guests onto the show that will talk about specific parts of the real estate industry, whatever they are focused on and specialize in, are an expert in. So have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.